All right, here's several close air support strike tips and details that I wish I had known sooner. We're going to dive right in. Either you're in the splash radius of the strike or you're not. If you're in the splash radius, you're taking full damage. If you're just outside of it, you take 0 damage as far as CAS strikes go. With the more powerful strikes, you can completely delete a HAB, and you can even completely delete it if you strike 9 meters away from it. So sometimes that might be useful. The width of the close air support strikes is different for each of the different strikes. The smallest are your F-16 and FA-18 strikes. They will go about 9 meters on either side of the strike that you lay down. Next largest is the A-10. It'll be 10 meters on either side of where the strike lands. And then your largest is going to be your Su-25 and the JH-7A. They come in at about 13 meters on either side. They're the largest because their rockets are spread out a bit. When close air support strikes come in, they're arriving somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees of angle, so it's a very low angle, meaning it's easy for buildings, fences, and other obstructions to get in the way of the strike, so keep that in mind. Sometimes tanks can survive close air support strikes, but they have to be quite lucky. Here is why. If we watch this strike come in slow motion, that very first tank you'll see takes only one direct impact from a rocket. It takes 2 projectiles to kill a tank. One impact will severely hurt it, which it's going to be very badly hurt at the end of this. 2 will kill it. In this case, the strike is spread so far, this tank gets lucky, it only takes 1 impact, and it, along with a couple of others, will live to fight another day. It doesn't matter which strike you use, if 2 projectiles hit it, the tank will die. And it does not matter which way the tank is facing. Its armor facing which direction has no impact on this at all. 2 projectiles hit it, it will die. And this is part of the reason why the A-10 is so strong, because it is sending out a truckload of projectiles where it's essentially a laser beam. Armor does not take splash damage. Any vehicle that has any amount of armor will take no splash damage from a close air support strike. Doesn't matter if it lands 2 feet away from it. If the projectile doesn't connect with it, it will take no damage. The only things that take damage from the splash are unarmored targets, logistics vehicles, emplacements, infantry, things of that nature. No armored target, not even a heli, will take damage from the splash of a close air support strike. Suppose you have a situation where there's an IFV near a HAB. They're both targets, but clearly you want to take the HAB out more than anything. You can get both, though, if they're close enough, but you just need to be careful with how you place your strike to do it. As we know, the armor will not take damage from splash damage, so make sure that somehow the strike is actually impacting that armor as well as hitting the HAB. We managed to delete the HAB, but we didn't touch the armor, unfortunately. Instead, if we walk it over across the top of the IFV instead, right next to the HAB, we get both, including the deletion of the HAB. Clearly, that's the way to go.
Mission successful, RTB.
Suppose you have an enemy HAB that's undercover, like this, but it is next to a large door. Well, darn, your airstrike can't hit it because it's undercover, right? Well, if you try and strike across the top of it, of course, yes, it won't hit. If instead you move your strike to the side and let the splash damage do the work for you, you can hit it and outright delete it just like it was in the wide open. Again, though, you've got to have a pretty good, sizable opening to get splash damage to that HAB for this to work. Last bit of data I'll throw out here is regarding the rocket strikes. So you've got the Su-25 and the JH-7A. When they come in, they're sending out 36 rockets. So that's the actual number of projectiles it's throwing out there onto the ground, and it's got a nice wide path. That's part of the reason why it's so good, is there's so many rockets striking, and it can also delete HABs just like the A-10 can. So the problem you've got with the FA-18 and the F-16 strikes is there are only 14 projectiles coming out, 14 rockets. I don't know why it's so many fewer rockets for those, and it shows. It does much less damage. Tanks are much more likely to survive if you stretch your strike out, because there's fewer projectiles coming out. They may not get hit by 2 of them. But anyway, literally less than half the number of rockets are coming out, and that is the reason why it seems so much weaker. So I'd say that about wraps it up. Keep those tips in mind as you use it. You'll probably make a better use of those CAS strikes here and there when the opportunities arise. Let me know any other questions you got in the comments. I'm happy to try and answer them. Some other people can help me with them as well. Anyway, have a good evening, and we'll see y'all out there.